What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Naia Lax updates. How are we doing today, Tucker? Tucker's not wearing a hat, guys. I thought I would put that out. That was mesmerizing to me when I opened the Zoom call.
I am not wearing a hat. I have no mullet left. I got the mullet all the way to 5 days until game day, until I decided the mullet was no more. This was also the same time that John decided to become a lumberjack. So
yeah.
Here we are, folks. We're in this is now full season form. Nope, we're in season form. Here we are. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. We're about to start some lacrosse here in Dubuque in a matter of a few days with the team you're very familiar with. Yeah, I don't know, man. We got a tornado here yesterday. Wiped out of town. Saw that. That was really sad. Iowa is crazy. So thoughts and prayers with that area of the state, kind of the middle of the state right now. Saw some hail yesterday. Was not a big fan of that. And yeah, man. Life is good. Lacrosse is going. We saw we saw a lot of lacrosse actually this week. Like looking through what you even sent, it hit me like how much lacrosse happened in the NAI.
We're almost full swing at this point.
It's weird. How many teams do we think have not started the season yet? I know we haven't. We start Thursday.
Lords has been like the victim of a couple cancellations. And then I thought we can touch on this later, but Mobap's kind of been like all over the place. But I think they actually play a game.
Yes, that is true. So I'm trying to think. So Lords has not started yet. Mobap just started. Are we missing anybody?
Madonna has their first game this week, I think.
That's right. I would also like to point out the fact, shout out to my boy from back home, Cody Carson. Cody is the GA at Lords. He posted this sick photo, man. Great. And the caption really got me. If you see these wolves in your front yard, just know we're going hard.
Oh, man. Okay.
Wow. Yep, I saw it. So shout out Cody. Cody gets the first caption of Instagram award on the Naia Lax Updates podcast. So there you go, Lords. Man, yeah. So okay, let's just jump in. Full disclosure, guys, it is 10 o'clock here. It is, I believe, 11 o'clock where you are, John. We're gonna get through this for you guys tonight. You got work tomorrow, and I got a lot of grad school homework to do. So we're gonna make this show happen. This is our lacrosse therapy for the day. All right, so we're just going to start here at the top. There's a few scores that we're going to go through, not touch a whole lot on for you guys. So I'll go ahead and go through those. John, stop me as I'm going if any of them are ones that you've decided you want to talk about a little bit. Midland took on Cleary. Midland won 19-2 over Cleary. About what we would expect from that game. Cumberland's and Dearborn played. That was kind of an interesting one that we didn't fully know. We know who's going to win. We didn't know the score. That was a 10-goal deficit. Cumberland's winning 15-5 over Dearborn. Mount Vernon Nazarene taking on Centenary.
I think so.
Yeah. I believe they are from Alabama or Louisiana. They're from Louisiana. Sorry. So they took on that school. They were a D3 school. Mount Vernon in a nice fashion won 16-1. Good win there. Methodist took on St. Andrews. Who is Methodist?
I have no idea. I'm assuming they're D3.
I'm also assuming. I've never heard of Methodist. I know it's a church, but yeah. So Methodist beat St. Andrews 6-4. I'm going to have to do a Google search on Methodist at some point tonight. Point lost 8-24 to Huntingdon. Huntingdon is a team in Fairbanks, Alabama, I believe. Yeah. Beautiful school, actually. Beautiful school. So Point's still putting up goals. That's what I'm going to say, honestly. Like they are, whatever the score is, they're still putting up decent number of goals every game. So good looks there. Then Mount Vernon takes on Cleary in an NAI matchup, a former WAC matchup. Mount Vernon winning 24-1 in dominating fashion. And now we get to go into some games that we have some notes on here. This is the first one we're going to jump in. John, you're going to have a lot more insight than I do. Ottawa and Willie P. Ottawa 16, William Penn 11. What are your thoughts? What are we looking at? What's the inside out kind of look at this game?
Yeah, let me get this out of the way. It was a rough week for us at William Penn, but I'd say the main thing is the DeMarco brothers really put up some numbers on us. I think the older one had 3 goals, 3 assists. Younger one had maybe 1 more point than him. He had like 3 goals.
Yeah, it was a 1 goal deficit between them. Yeah.
They put up big numbers. Defensively, not a great day. Offense played pretty solid. Didn't help that starting goalie was out with a sprained ankle.
I was going to ask you that. That was kind of that one I was kind of wondering about. Well, okay, there's 2 takeaways from this. William Penn's going to stay in any game they're in. They're staying in the game. That score shows that. Even bigger takeaway that I think Ottawa continues to prove is Ottawa is a damn good team this year. Ottawa is good. Like I am
on the offensive end.
Having 2 DeMarcos down there, that's DeMarco doubled DeMarco. That is enjoyable to watch on offense, not to mention the rest of the team. I mean, I was just looking at how are they playing offense, and is it really just 1 or 2 players taking over? And to be honest with you, it's not. Like if you look at the score sheet, it's going to look that way a lot of times. But Ottawa's doing really well at everybody getting the ball, everyone taking looks, the ball is moving around. Like it looks like a set offense. So that's good to see in early season format. So that's an important KCAC matchup right there. That's an important one that we're seeing already. And especially as we continue to show, there's a lot of kind of weird stuff going on in the KCAC this year that we're definitely going to touch on, that this game is relevant to as well. Ottawa did very well on faceoffs. Did not see that stat earlier. Okay. On to Dearborn and Mobap. I watched a good amount of this game. My buddy over there at Mobap texted me right afterward and pretty much confirmed my suspicions. I don't know what was going on with the officials in that game, but it looked like things had just gotten out of control at one point where I was just like, did they just call that? Did they not call that? Did they just call that? And it wasn't even like one-sided calls. It was just like, what are we doing? Like, what is going on with these calls? So I'm glad that I also picked up on the stream, noticing that. Once again, Dearborn holding strong with an awesome stream that you can hear the teams chirping each other in the background. I'm really enjoying that HD audio. So that's pretty wonderful. This was one of the more physical matchups that I've seen as far as games go. It was aggressive. It was fast paced. It was a fun game to watch. I don't know that there's anything really specific about the game that was like, wow factor. What did you see?
The teams were pretty even. It just seemed like where we stand now, Dearborn as a program is on a little bit better footing than Mobap, just kind of ahead of themselves in the year, just kind of with Mobap kind of having a lot of games canceled so far this year. And then also just the coaching situation is a little bit more stable at Dearborn, it seems like.
Yeah. And I will say the thing I appreciate about Dearborn watching them this year is it looks like the team's having fun playing together. Like I really was kind of appreciating watching them continually in their games, that everyone's working together. There's a cohesive sense of the units working together. You can hear the coaches talking to the players, which is a fun part of that as well, to be involved in that stream. But I really do. And I'll say this, I think Dearborn, as they continue to build, I think they're going to get better and better and better. I know historically Dearborn has had a good team consistently, but I think Dearborn's in a position now where if they do decent this year and then next year position themselves to do very well, they're in a very good spot in the WAC. Like there's an opportunity now to do that. Moving on, Midland, Morningside. This is a KCAC matchup. I will see these 2 teams very soon. I don't know. There's not a lot to say here. Midland putting in 17 goals. Props.
I guess we can talk a little bit about the Morningside news, at least from what we're hearing.
Yeah.
Not
so
good.
You take it away.
I mean, I can't say I can confirm it, but I mean, me and you have both been told by like a handful of people. I mean, we're talking about head coaches of different programs. We're talking about players of different programs. So people who would be pretty knowledgeable on the situation that I don't know if it's 100% confirmed, but it does not sound like Morningside will have a program going forward after this year.
Yep. And unfortunately, same here. Multiple sources I've heard it from. And it's kind of the writing on the wall, unfortunately. The question that we have now is, does Morningside make it through the season, or is this a mid-season decision to cut the program? We've seen it happen both ways at schools. I would be lying if I haven't seen it both ways. It can go either way. It really can. I hope for the sake of every single guy on that team, they get through the season, because I think they've played 2 or 3 games. So their eligibility criteria is probably timed out for the year, that they should just play the year through. I'm going to be honest. I think these guys should get to play another year of lacrosse, finish out the school without any stress of school and lacrosse colliding and not having lacrosse to rely on. You finish it out, you look for a new landing, you stay there and continue academically, whatever is the best fit for you. I hope, though, for the sake of Morningside, that they get through a season and can continue to play lacrosse there. For those who don't know, Morningside built an entire lacrosse field, literally specifically for lacrosse, on the Morningside campus. So they have the only lacrosse only facility in the KCAC. And that's an important thing to note, that they put a lot of money into that. And unfortunately, we're at the position we are now. I have mixed feelings on it. I don't know how you feel about it. They're a young program. I don't think any athletic department should really expect to have perfect success in your first 3 or 4 years as a program, especially in no knock to these guys in Sioux City, Iowa. You're on the Dakotas border. You're really not in lacrosse territory. Like, it's fair to say they're 4 hours from me, and they're clear across the other side of the state. It's not a great spot to recruit to. I know that for a fact. They're still getting guys there, though. And if they fold, do we blame the athletic department? Do we blame anybody? Is it just unfortunate? I don't know. We'll see when that time comes. But I really do. Morningside guys, if you're listening, my thoughts are with you guys in this position. You don't know what's going on right now. But I hope you guys get through the season and we get to see you guys here in Dubuque, or rather in Sioux City actually this year. But Midland, good win. Good KCAC win to go 1-0 in KCAC play there. Indiana Tech and William Penn. Indiana Tech 10, William Penn 1. Do we think that Indiana Tech is the offensive juggernaut that we expected? Is this game just not representative of either program? Where are we looking at with this?
I think William Penn did some nice things to slow down the Indiana Tech offense a little bit, particularly running the zone and putting a lot of pressure. It wasn't just kind of one of those zones where you sit back and say, hey, take long shots on me, because if you play that with Indiana Tech, they're gonna make those shots. So it was a little bit more of a high pressure zone look. I think that slowed them down a little bit. I don't remember what the final shot total was, but the shot disparity was kind of the big thing in this one for me. I think William Penn only finished with like low 20s in number of shots. One thing I do know that one of the big emphasis was slowing down Andrew Ryan, so kind of forcing other people to beat them. So I know Czech put up, I think, 4 or 5 goals, was one of the big stat leaders.
Yeah, that is interesting. I don't know. I'm not really sure how I feel about this one. I still think it's kind of early enough that we don't really know what's going on. I think Indiana Tech's been in so many close games recently that they were just like, we're putting the burners on now. It's kind of like we talked about that. Do they only play well under pressure? Like, are they only playing well when they're down or when they're close, or are they going to play well out of the gate? It looks like this game is more representative of kind of older Indiana Tech, or what we kind of expected out of Indiana Tech. So interesting score there. That's a really good KCAC WAC matchup. That's an important one kind of to look at there. And an important one for the national rankings too, I would say. That's a very impactful one there. Reinhardt and Weber. Reinhardt 11, Weber 7. I would just like to first off, whoever's doing the Reinhardt highlights, keep it up. I'm enjoying. I was getting ready for my haircut today, watching Reinhardt, and the lady in the haircut salon was probably wondering why I was listening to loud rock music. I was listening to loud rock music because whoever's doing the Reinhardt stuff picks some absolutely fire music. It was very good. So awesome highlights coming out of there. Weber has a very cool field next to the ocean or a lake, and it looked very sunny and warm there. And I cried a little bit inside, but that's okay because it was a good game. This was fun for me looking at this game and kind of watching bits and pieces of it and the score, because I don't know about you, but this seems like a pretty good example of a team giving Reinhardt a run for their money this year. What do you think?
No, Weber definitely played their all. I mean, I was very impressed with Weber. It was 5-5 at the beginning of the fourth, and I'm sitting there watching this like, oh man, like as a former player, like you don't want to say you're rooting for them, but you get a little nervous. You're like, oh man, are you really about to lose this one? And then it was kind of like very early in the fourth quarter. I think Reinhardt won the first 3 faceoffs and scored almost like directly off of those. So that kind of gave him a little bit more breathing room. That was kind of the big story, and it was Reinhardt went 16 of 21 from the faceoff. That really helped them a lot. This game kind of leads into a tough stretch for Reinhardt, and this is kind of how it is every year. They usually schedule a team on the way down to playing Kaiser. So they'll play one team, and then the very next day or 2 days later, they'll play Kaiser, and then they'll usually play Lawrence Tech on that trip as well. So a couple people asked me how I was feeling, if maybe they were overlooking Weber a little bit. And I would say that's definitely a possibility, but I would say at this point, Weber's definitely not a team you would like to overlook, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I mean, yeah, we follow NAI lacrosse pretty closely and are heavily involved with it, but I think anybody who takes a look at the Weber program right now and what they're doing, you can't overlook them. They're a well-oiled machine that continues to get better and better, and they're making the improvements every year that you want to see happen for a program. I mean, things I noted from just watching that little bit of that game was that their sideline is deep. Weber's sideline is deep. Not only that, their sideline is organized. The guys are standing together. It looks very, very well put together, like a very organized college lacrosse program should. And knock me if you want for talking about how a sideline looks, but it says a lot how a sideline looks because it reflects how your program is being run. And I'll tell you right now, there's people in the stands there. The field looks great. The sideline's organized. The coach is in control of his players. There's a lot of outside elements that are going into Weber getting better and better every year. A lot of those support elements are there. You can see where that coach had success at the MLL level, at the Tampa, Florida level. There's bits and pieces of his past coming out in the Weber program now, which you do like to see. I think that Reinhardt and Weber are going to be a closer and closer matchup and a battle for years to come with the way both these programs are going, in my mind.
Yeah, I could definitely see it playing out that way as well. And then I want to give some goalie love. A couple people asked for a little bit more of that. So I think his last name's Cordero, but he came up with 20 saves in the loss. So that was pretty crucial for them as well.
Was that the one where Lacrosse Playground made a little GIF or whatever it was?
Yeah. Yep. That is the one.
Kind of like to see that. Yeah. Okay. This is a good one. This is one that I was wanting to talk about. Taylor 12, Mount Vernon Nazarene 9. That's a lot closer game than would have been a year ago. Full disclosure, guys, I apologize if I ragged on independent lacrosse at all a little bit prior. I was corrected, and apparently the independent league does still exist. And that's news to me. That's big news. That is an actual conference, which I had no idea that still existed. I thought that when Kaiser left it and everyone left it, that it just flipped. I thought it disappeared. Like, okay. I thought, what is it? The AII, I think is what it's called.
Something like that.
But yeah, apparently it's still running, which I didn't know. And I believe Mount Vernon is in that right now, which I didn't know that either. Like, that's also news to me right now in the situation that we're in. So I apologize, guys, to anyone if I ragged on independent NAI lacrosse at all a little bit too much. I was a little fired up about the College Idaho score, I'll be honest with you. But great conversation with some people from Mount Vernon, talking about kind of the growth of the game there. Mount Vernon is not very far from where I played high school lacrosse or where my family's from. It's an hour, 2-hour drive, very close. They're doing a really good job. They're filling up a deeper roster. They're keeping guys in the area from good schools in the Columbus area, and that's a very important thing to see. But talking about the growth of independent lacrosse was kind of an important one here, in the fact of, do we want to have like 2 or 3 mega conferences, or would we rather have 5 or 7 smaller conferences that are really competitive and that are focused on growing NAI lacrosse in their regions and having like true regions where you're not traveling more than like 4 hours for a game? And that was a good question to be asked that they brought up. And I put some thinking into it and realized that the way things are going now, you have Morningside in our conference, right? Morningside's in the KCAC. There's a lot of teams in the KCAC, but there's a lot of really good teams in the KCAC, and it's grown a lot as it's prepared to go into the heart of America. If that were to split and you had 2 conferences of similar playing ability together instead of one big conference, is that more growth promoting? Do you have guys wanting to stay in the game longer? Do you have athletic programs wanting to keep the programs around longer? That's a good question that I hadn't really thought about, because I'd only been thinking about this in let's get more teams, not in conference alignment. And then they go and point out, well, hey, the Oregon team, the Idaho team, the other Oregon team, if it happens, they could all be in a conference very easily. And they could be in a smaller regional conference, like a small independent conference. Didn't even think about it, but I think it would probably promote a lot of growth of the game for schools that don't have it right now, because your travel time would be lower, your budget would be lower. You could potentially do it. You really could. So, random thought, wanted to bring it up.
No, that's a good point. I like that one. Do you think that would be better if we had 5 or 6 like smaller conferences?
I mean, I guess in terms of the KCAC where it sits right now, and like, this is like full disclosure, guys. When I'm on this podcast, I love my school. I love Clarke University, but like, I'm going to be fair about where we are in the conference and everything. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I do think that if it was like us, Midland, Morningside, and you could have a fourth team in there at least. If our conference did become more regional, and it could even be William Penn, like if you had William Penn, Clarke, Morningside, and Midland, those are all very close together. For those of you who don't know, geographically speaking, I could see something like that working. I think where we are with the bigger conferences now is fine. I don't think they need to split up. I don't think it's realistic, but I do think as the other regions start to grow, as we talked about earlier, if you can get a bunch, like 2 or 3 schools together wanting to start a small conference by themselves for lacrosse, it's going to be that much easier to start lacrosse in that area, instead of like Multnomah not having a season this year because there's nobody around them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I feel like as things grow, the big conferences now are going to stay big. For example, the Big Ten is never going to become a smaller conference. It's just not. It's the Big Ten. The way NAI lacrosse sits right now, the KCAC, the WAC, the AAC will always exist. And they're always going to be bigger, historic NAI lacrosse conferences. As the smaller ones expand, for example, in comparison to D1, you have schools like Cleveland State who are in these smaller conferences now that used to be independent conferences. The same thing could happen in lacrosse. You could have smaller conferences out of independent conferences, which I feel like maybe there's some legitimacy to
that. Okay. Definitely food for thought.
Yeah, I had never thought about it like that. Like, I read the text and I was sitting there and I was like, that makes sense. I was like, that in certain regions, I'm like, that could really work. So interesting thought there. Told him I'd bring it up. Also shout out to Mount Vernon's media staff and athletic department, doing lacrosse right and giving them some love. Been seeing the retweets from you, so that's kind of cool. So Taylor 12, Mount Vernon 9. We talked about it a little bit. Mount Vernon came to play. They showed that they can stay with a WAC team that's a pretty decent WAC team. They're in there. It was a good game all around. I thought that these teams looked pretty neck and neck. Like I thought this was a fair matchup. I will also say these two schools are pretty similar in design. They're two Christian institutions that are about the same enrollment, I believe, and very similar design. So if you were to pick two teams that are pretty good matchup, Taylor and Mount Vernon. So kind of a cool one there. Any special shout outs or ideas you have from this game?
Oh no, I mean it was about what I thought it would be. I mean, I really didn't know who was gonna win going in, and it's a pretty close one.
Yeah, very much so. All right, now you're gonna want to talk about this one. Columbia and Tennessee Wesleyan. Columbia 8, Tennessee Wesleyan 5. What do you think?
I'm not saying it was a fluke, but it was kind of fluky-ish, I'd say. Like, and that's just like from watching it, and then like the stats really don't make me feel any better saying it's not a fluke. And then the game today really didn't make me feel any better saying it wasn't a fluke. But yeah, I mean, do you want to just read us the stats a little bit so people know a little bit more what I'm talking
about? Number one on the stat sheet, it was a fluke. Okay. I would just like to preface this, but I don't know what's going on with some of these teams, but we're not getting a good read on anything. Like in all reality, there's no way to get a good read right now. So guess you're from Tennessee Wesleyan, correct? 100% on the face-off. 100% on the face-off. That's incredible. First off, I mean, can we give him like the hard hat award or something? My gosh. Columbia College's goalie saved Columbia College in stats. That's for sure. I mean, so Tennessee Wesleyan has 41 shots. Columbia has 26. Tennessee Wesleyan, ground balls, 39. Columbia, 21. Face-off, again, Tennessee Wesleyan, 16 for 16 on the face-off. Tennessee Wesleyan, 9 saves. Columbia, 18 saves. That is the only stat column that makes any sense, is the last part.
The only one.
Everything else, are we sure we got the stats right? Like, what is going on? This doesn't make any sense. My brain hurts after looking at this because now I realize how absurd it actually is. Wow.
And I mean, shout out to that goalie because I mean, he made 18 saves, which is incredible. And I mean, that did handedly save the game. I mean,
Peltier.
Yeah, and he played great today as well. But I mean, man, that one just was. I mean, shout out to CC for pulling that off. I mean, if you showed me the stats and didn't show me the score, I'm saying 17-7 Tennessee Wesleyan wins that based on those kind of stats. Just
100%.
Something like that, but they didn't. So
that was the most confusing. Like, yeah, we're gonna move on. Okay, Cumberland's 17, Columbia 5. What the heck's going on? See, this is what I'm talking about. There's no way to get a read on what's going on or what's even going on in conference play. And a lot of these games, we're 5 games in, and we normally have a great read on what's going on. Nothing right now. Nothing. I mean, all I know is it looked like Cumberland's was by far the dominant team in this game. Like, any way you look at it, Cumberland's was a better team in this game. I have no doubt. Was this played directly after Tennessee Wesleyan? Is it a trap game? I don't think it is. I really do think that Cumberland's is a better team here. And I think Cumberland's probably got even better from the last week. They got better. They built on it. Columbia, I don't know. It's like you have in your notes here that I'm reading, guys. Columbia's, I think their biggest thing right here we're looking at is that they went 7 for 26 on faceoffs after going 0 for 16 the game before on faceoffs. I know they have multiple faceoff guys. I'm not really sure what's going on. Are they winning the draw and then there's just faster guys in the wings? You know, what are we looking at here that's causing this? But I will say, you look at the stat lines in these two games, the faceoffs are a big part of what we're seeing.
Yeah, and I mean, it seemed like, at least stat wise, that it was kind of a repeat from the Tennessee Wesleyan game. I mean, they lost in the majority of the stat columns. The goalie had, I think, the same amount of saves. He had 18 saves again. It was just Cumberland's, I guess, did a better job shooting today. I mean,
And and to be honest with you, that's the only thing that we can take away from that, because otherwise we have no idea because this is not representative. If you would have asked us those two scores at the beginning of this past week, we would have been off on both games. And that's the honest opinion, that if we are having this hard of a time picking, then I don't think anybody's having a good time figuring out what's going on. Which leads us into our picks. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, do you think Cumberland's is that much better than Tennessee Wesleyan right now? That they're just 15, 20 goals better?
I don't think they are. I feel like if you put Tennessee Wesleyan and Cumberland's out there tomorrow, it's not going to be a blowout. Like, it's not. I think it's going to be a close game. And I honestly, depending on how the two teams played, I don't even know if I could confidently tell you a winner of that game. Like that, because I think about, okay, first off, Tennessee Wesleyan goes 100% in the faceoff against a team that's historically pretty good at faceoffs. If they're going 100% against Columbia, and then Cumberland's is not going 100% against Columbia, just that one element, are these two teams really far apart? Are they close? Are they completely flopped? We don't know. And it's starting to feel like this year we're not going to have a clear picture in these top four positions for each conference until conference play, or not even conference play, until the conference tournament, probably, because there's just no way to gauge what's going on right now.
Yeah. And then on Columbia, Trevor Doran didn't play today. And I was looking back on the stats for the Tennessee Wesleyan game. It looked like he only had one shot in that one. So he's definitely someone who would have had more if he played the entire game. So I'm wondering if maybe he got injured earlier in that one.
That's interesting. Yeah. Good catch there. All right, let's go into some picks here. We got a laundry list of picks.
Yeah, wow. A lot.
All right, we're going to go through. I'm going to take notes of every single one here. Once my notes decide to work with me. Okay. Lawrence, Tech, and Weber, who you got?
I got Weber.
I got Weber as well. I just think my thought in this game is that Weber comes off of playing Reinhardt. Reinhardt is a good team, very good team. I think that they're ready to face any opponent after facing Reinhardt is my thought. Reinhardt and Kaiser, who you got?
I got Reinhardt. This one might be a little bit closer than we think it will be.
I got Reinhardt. I'm not even going to take a guess on the score because I agree with you. I think it's going to be a little confusing. Concordia, Tennessee Wesleyan. I got Tennessee Wesleyan. Who you got?
I got T-Dub big.
T-Dub big. All right. Let me,
just the face.
That's my thought as well. Lawrence Tech and Reinhardt. Who you got?
Lawrence Tech just doesn't match up well with Reinhardt year in and year out. We see it every year. So I'm going to go Reinhardt.
I'm also going to go Reinhardt for the same reason. We got Siena Heights and Ottawa.
That's a tough one. That's a really tough one in my book. Give me Siena Heights, but I mean, I could be completely wrong about this one.
All right, you got Siena Heights. I got Ottawa. All right. St. Andrews and Lords.
Give me Lords. And again, I don't feel good about it just because we haven't seen Lords play yet.
I'm going to go Lords too. I got some inside info that's cooking right now that I think is good. I think Lords has more guys than people are aware of, like, that have been paying attention to this. I think Lords is going to be in a good spot. Siena Heights and Benedictine.
I'm going to go Benedictine. They looked pretty good when they played Indiana Tech, especially in the first half.
Can we talk about those uniforms too they got going this year? Oh my goodness, that's some heat. All right. Both of us got Benedictine. You cannot pick in this game. We'll William Penn and Ambrose. Wow. I forgot this was coming up. Holy smokes. Does William Penn play Ambrose the day before they come here or the day after? I think it's the day before.
I think it's the day before as well.
Okay, so it's a Wednesday, Thursday type thing. I'm gonna go Ambrose, but this is anybody's game. And I got boys on both these teams. And I'm telling you right now, these two teams are going to be matched up. And they're probably going to see each other in a conference tournament again, too, regardless of what happens in this game. So that's an interesting one. Lawrence Tech and Kaiser.
I'm going to take Kaiser. It could be. I'm going to take Kaiser.
I'm going to take Lawrence Tech.
Okay. I mean, it wouldn't stun me. But...
All right. Lords and T-Dub.
I'll go with T-Dub still.
I actually, in this game. Oh, Lords does have that face-off kid. I don't know. I honestly think T-Dub's going to be I'm taking T-Dub. I'm taking T-Dub with you. The battle of the Missourians, whatever. Missouri Valley and Mobap.
That'll be an interesting one. It's always a big game, always a fun one. Give me Valley. I could be easily wrong about that one. I have no idea who's going to win that one.
Okay, I'm taking Mobap. Hines. I don't want to hear it. I know I'm gonna get a text from Hines. Be like, "Why'd you pick against me, dude?" I'm taking Mobap. I still love you, man, but I'm taking Mobap.
Hey, over under on that game happening.
On the well, here's our moment to address what's going on. Okay, so here we are. Got some more info on the snow cancellation. On the Missouri Baptist side of things. I won't name my source because it put them in a bad situation. That was not a team decision. That was the athletic director afraid to plow the field for anything because it will destroy the turf. No, it will not destroy the turf. We plow our turf here. Yes, turf only has a certain number of years lifespan, but you're supposed to play games on it. It's meant to be played on. And when it's warm enough and the snow is not frozen on the field, you plow the field. So that is an athletic director position that impacted the snow situation there. Shame on you. Then we see the cancellation at Lords. I feel bad for the guys at Lords. I feel bad for Cody posting his Instagram picture, all excited for that game, clearly. And then no game happens.
I've seen.
What happened? Like, I don't know. All I saw was a tweet that had a picture of a van or a bus, and it was like, "We're not playing today." And I was just sitting there like, what happened? Did the bus break? Like, what's going? I have to assume somebody got the Rona. Like,
that's why it was like kind of funny to me too, because it like if it was a sickness, like you thought they would post something else, but it was just the van. So I was like,
I opened up my feed and I'm like, oh, cool. Like Mobap posted something. I'm like, oh, I got a new van. Wait, this is a cancellation photo? And the only thing in my mind is I'm like, oh yeah, they're just sitting there and they're going through their like recent pictures, and it's like a picture of this guy's pug or the van. What are we going with? We're going with the van. And I'm just sitting there thinking, this is the most NAI lacrosse thing that I have ever seen. And I love it. And I'm more curious now as to what happened. I hope you guys are okay on Mobap. We're only laughing at your van, I swear. I hope you guys are okay. I have to assume it's a COVID related thing. It's okay. Like you can cancel an out of conference game. It's not going to impact your tournament play. Strange. Oh, we should talk about cancellations in results and implications of tournament play. St. Mary is not making the KCAC tournament this year.
What?
Yes.
Because they had to forfeit a game?
They had to forfeit a game, and under the new KCAC rules, you cannot forfeit a game unless it is like weather or one other contingency, and it did not fit into either of the ones. So from our understanding, they are eliminated from tournament play contention.
Oh, that's a bad turn for them. I was unaware of.
They didn't post a picture of a van. So yeah. Anyway, there's a lot of cancellations going on. There's a lot of questions we don't know. I don't know. I'm confused. There's a lot going on. Okay, back to our picks. Man, we got derailed. Yeah, okay. Indiana Tech and Cumberland's.
That's a tough one, but I know I've harped on face-offs this whole year. But until Indiana Tech gets that straightened out, I don't think they're going to beat the top like 2 or 3 teams. And right now, I think Cumberland's probably the number 2 team. So I'm taking Cumberland's.
I'm also taking Cumberland's, and I feel confident in taking Cumberland's. Madonna and Reinhardt. Man, we haven't seen Madonna play yet either.
I'm taking Reinhardt, but I wouldn't be surprised if Madonna is one of these kind of dark horse teams to be kind of maybe the 3rd place team in the WAC.
Is this the first game that Madonna's playing, or are we just not hearing about it?
No, it's the first game. I mean, I don't even think they've had like out of league games to my knowledge.
I'm gonna look and see if there's even a scrimmage on their roster or on their schedule, because even for Madonna, okay, yeah. Oh my gosh, we missed a lot. We have missed a lot.
They're just running and gunning, not telling us.
Dude, they played Michigan State, MCLA.
Is there a score?
There's no score. Oh my gosh, they played Franciscan D3. They played Michigan State, very good MCLA. They played Bowling Green, a club lacrosse team, and now they play Reinhardt. Oh, there's live stats listed for all these games. Hold on. Yeah. Somehow I just found Michigan high school basketball Division II state stats from the Madonna link.
Well, that's a different podcast for another time.
Hold on, bear with me, guys. Bear with me. I'm going to look up Michigan State. They are very good on Twitter. I'm confused. I would have loved to see that game.
Yeah, I would have liked to see that one too. Just let me know what the score was, and I'll tweet it out or something. So
yeah, dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not finding this thing anywhere. It's 8 hours ago. Okay, Georgia Tech, by the way, beat Michigan State. They've played quite a few games. Michigan State's doing good though. Okay. Michigan State also did scrimmage Concordia to start last year. So this makes sense why they scrimmage Madonna this year, to keep things in. And there's no record of this game happening. So anybody at Madonna, please let us know what's going on. We're very curious to get predictions for this Reinhardt game. As of right now, I will also be picking Reinhardt, which leads us to our last game. Columbia and St. Ambrose, a heavyweight KCAC matchup.
Is a big one. I wish we had seen more of Ambrose since kind of the game where they beat Indiana Tech. I think we've only seen them once since. We've seen Columbia twice this week. Hasn't looked too great. I'm going to take Ambrose, but I think CC is definitely capable of beating them.
I agree. I do think that they're capable of, but I'm not saying something funky's going on at Columbia. It just doesn't look like normal Columbia so far. It's a little weird to me. And Ambrose looks like they're really feeling themselves and firing on all cylinders. So we'll wait and see what happens. That's going to be a good game, guys. So circle that one. Circle the Lawrence Tech Kaiser game. Circle the Reinhardt Kaiser game for sure. Those are kind of, I think, your big ones to watch for the week. And then William Penn and Ambrose will be a very good game as well. And if you want to see some Missouri lacrosse, Mobap, Indiana Tech, UC, there's a lot of good games to watch this upcoming week, guys, which will lead to a podcast next week. we've covered a lot. We've covered the van. We've covered about everything we can possibly find. Any final thoughts?
No, I just hope y'all have a great week and enjoy the lacrosse.
All right, guys, we will talk to you right back here next Sunday night, Monday, your time. Hope you guys are staying well, staying healthy, and keep up on that Twitter account there, guys. John's very active on there, posting every bit of juicy NAI lacrosse details. Until then, guys, we'll see you next time.